and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America. We do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Yes, join Startup on the Blocks. How's everybody doing this afternoon and this evening? Isa
Very
and Corey?
good. Hi, thank you for having
Good,
me.
good, good. Yes,
Doing well.
Good. Glad to have you both here. I'm broadcasting from Freetown in Sierra Leone, Africa this evening. So I got Corey on backing me up just in case we lose power and stuff like that. But he can join in the conversation with Isa. We're glad to have you back to give us an update, Isa.
I am so excited to be here today. I'm excited to inform everyone about work.
Yes, that's great. First, we'll give a shout out to our sponsors here real quick and give them their credit for supporting what we're trying to do with the founders and helping them learn the best practices for building a startup. We love partnering with organizations to kind of support their members, and if they have a startup idea or if they're working on a startup, we want to be able to help them. So that's kind of our strategy, with the Blacks in Technology Foundation, but we also partner with ecosystem organizations and software companies that have stuff for startup founders. So the light bulb, the green light bulb, that's the startup science, and I think I told you about that program before. Greg Shepard developed that. He went through 12 exits, worth billions of dollars, and so everything he learned about that, he went through those exits, he put in a training program. So we make that available to founders to help them out. We're partners with Coda, and that you can run your whole startup back office of your startup off Coda. So it's pretty neat. We make startups.
That's helpful.
It's an ecosystem organization, but we partner with them because they have a training platform called Co-Founder OS, where you can uses AI to help measure your entrepreneurial skills, but it also offers a national certification in entrepreneurship. PitchBob is they're out of Israel, and we partner with them to kind of help founders get started. So it's like an AI thing that helps you build all the foundational paperwork you need to get your startup off the ground. So it's a very inexpensive tool. Yeah. So we're a member of Goody Nation, Black Innovation Alliance, the Black Innovation Leaders of Florida, and we also leverage that Lean Stack platform to kind of teach that business model for design. And Corey, you're one of our coaches. What do you think about the Lean Stack platform?
After doing the long form business plans, it's a breath of fresh air. So
Yes.
the with the lean stack, you could it's basically a Cliff Note version of a business plan, and he gets a point of gets the point across as far as the business model very quickly. And the way I kind of look at it, it's not a replacement for your financial statements and things of the sort, but it's a great way to make sure that the folks that you're communicating understand the mental model behind your startup. So it's a great way to start before diving in a little bit deeper to the financial statements and the traditional business plan if you decide to go down that route.
Yeah, yeah, and so like Ash is in the last 3 months or so, he's been real active on YouTube. So Ash Morgate, you could follow his YouTube channel, and he's really pumping out the mindset and the concepts and stuff to help founders, um, you know, grow successful startups. So I can't say enough about Ash. Yes, and so we also have some sponsors and partners that provide financial support for organization, and so we want to give a big shout out to them as well. Yes, and so we talked about Startup Science, Lean Stack, and Co-Founder OS, and next month we're launching a patent hacks training. So if you develop an intellectual property and you want to know more about patents and trademarks, we'll have a sign up form for you for that to get going with that next month. Righty, so that's kind of it for that, and so let's get this show on the road. And I'm going to switch us up here to see if we can look a little different here. We can get this. Try this. All right. So, yeah. So,
See if I'm in the camera. Can you guys see me okay?
I could switch it back the other way just so we can make sure we can see everybody. Let's do whoever's talking. We'll bring Bisa over here. Yeah. So, yeah, I was going to just ask you. So you gave us came on and back in January, and I hear you made a lot of progress since then. So why don't you tell us what Microtron AI is all about and kind of where you are?
Definitely. So when I came on in the past, I talked about opening Microtron AI Inc. You know, at the time it was, you know, during the lean stack, you know, canvas and, you know, the SWOT, just determining what type of business model I want and, you know, what process and steps that I need to take in order to open an AI company. So first of all, I want to thank you for telling me about those tools and utilizing those tools to make Microtron a very, well, now profitable company. So in June of 2024, I opened Microtron AI Inc. in Tampa, Florida. And what we do, we create AI for companies, and we also provide wearable technologies for companies. Primarily, we work in the medical sphere. We also do defense work now. We target agricultural technology, defense, and national security, I should say. And then also we work in the educational sphere. Since speaking the last time, I've managed to create Microtron virtual operating system. And what it is, I want to make sure I tell you guys exactly. It is a augmented platform. So within Verse, it's just like the metaverse, but it's different. And I call it Verse because I feel we haven't accomplished the metaverse yet. I think we are developing the divisions and the departments and the tools and capabilities to one day have a metaverse. So that's why I did not name it metaverse. And of course, there's Facebook with the name Meta, so we don't want any confusion.
Yes.
So we have created this platform that allows you to pretty much have all applications that you have on your everyday desktop computer and mobile device. We also have our own large language model. It's called VerseCom, which stands for Contextual Awareness Language Model. What we do is we gather biometrics from our sensibles. Sensibles are our 5 sense wearables. We're not calling them wearable, we're calling them sensibles because every wearable coincides with whether seeing, hearing, smelling, all of your 5 senses. So
Okay.
we are using that data to train our large language model so it will have experience and you can it can learn your lifestyle, your adaptations on an everyday basis. That's exactly why we created Verse Desktop, because all of us every day we get up, we go on our computers, we use Microsoft Office, we use Chat GPT, we have all these tools, but what I've done is created them in one space. And from that, say you are a startup that does not have a office, you can have one in what we call Verse Rim. You can have your own digital twin, you can have your own what we're calling Versona, which is your digital avatar. It can interact in a virtual environment with your customers, with your suppliers, manufacturers, however. Um, Essentially, we can replicate the business model you have in a virtual world, or we can replicate your existing business. So our technology has a large language model, it has virtual realm capabilities, avatar capability. It also connects to our wearables. And the really cool thing about it is interoperable. It's a transferable model. It's modular. So everything Verse can be Coca-Cola, it can be Apple, it can be Amazon, it can be whoever. And I did that on purpose so startups and entrepreneurs could really benefit from our operating system. Also, there aren't many new operating systems out there. You may see those that created specifically for their technology, but very rarely can you change, for instance, Apple operating system to reflect yours. It's Apple's, and it's Apple. I want people to walk in your virtual realm or in your Verse Desktop and know that it's yours. I don't even want you to know Microtron, created it. I want only that company products and ads and all their information seen in this environment. And I think the best thing about it is its hyper reality feature. I love that because again, like it interfaces into the real world. I absolutely love the AIoT qualities. Our operating system can work on a smartwatch, computer, home pod if you use them, any smart homing technology, because originally it started out as PAD, and PAD was to be a smart home automation solution. But we saw features that could be adopted in robotics. We saw features that could be adopted in wearables. So it has the qualities to be, again, a transferable model, not just in digital twin and avatar capability, but also in a firmware and software capability. So I
So,
love that, and I'm very proud of the capability.
that sounds
So
so
that's
interesting.
essentially Verse.
Yeah, this sounds
Thank you.
very interesting. It kind of reminds me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of makes me think of Palantir plus the metaverse combined. And then, am I right when I say that it's kind of
Yes.
that you're selling integration technology that help you integrate both of those into your
Hmm.
companies, and maybe unlike Palantir, leaning more towards the private sector, but you do have capabilities of going
Yes.
public in the military. Okay, cool, excellent. I got
100%.
your
100%.
pitch is
Like
100%
right.
on, so I got it real quick.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I want it to be front face understanding as well. But what I love about what we're creating is it's friendly to defense and federal. We are working on a contract in that space right now. It's probably Microtron's biggest contract of the year. We're at closing this coming month, and I'm very excited for that because it's been long. I think really the defense interest in digital twinning technology and drone and 3D mapping really drove me to deep dive into creating this at a high level. I
Mm.
think that's what makes it stronger. But I honestly saw the need in the public sector too. I utilize metaverse. I utilize other spatial. I'm a big fan of spatial. And I was like, well, I love it, but there are some things that I would love to change, as like the avatars are a little bit too commercial, and I would like the avatars to be more realism. And my 3D modeler, Dari, he's a gentleman out of the Ukraine. He's going to be working on that end, and my CTO is magnificent. It's something to combine the two. His name is Parker Brigader, and we've worked very closely together. I'm not that CEO that sits at the top and give direction. I believe in being on the floor sometimes to make sure it's guided properly. And he's amazing. He sees my vision. He works well with me. We code. We just come together on things, and he's brilliant. And he was actually very inspired by Steve Wozniak, and I'm super inspired by Steve Jobs. So we just click on that, and you can see it. You can see. Yes, I'm honored, by the way, to the person who mentioned Palantir. Um, Peter Thiel, I'm a huge fan of him as well. But yeah, I believe that we were meant to do this. We're both inspired by Apple, and I'm trying my best to implement my heroes in the development process, and I hope it's as popular in the public sector as well as it's becoming popular in the private sector. And I'm doing some things in public. If it's okay with you guys, I would love to mention the latest partnerships that Microtron is pursuing. So there's a gentleman that's attending this today. His name is Joshua T. Berglund. They call him the world's mayor. And we are embarking on a, God knows, 20-year journey, I think, on his side to create media literacy centers. So essentially, our technology will be available in these smart panels inside of buildings where you can create the virtual environment you want, the TikTok environment you want, the video environment you want by walking into these small media centers that we're calling the technology orbitals. Has anyone seen the Las Vegas Sphere? It's essentially that, but smaller and modular. So we hear about the TikTok houses. I'm sure you guys have heard of those. We hear about things of that nature. So both of us were inspired, and we joined hands about 2 weeks ago to pursue open these literacy centers across the United States and abroad. We have a franchise model going on, and that's my work with Joshua. I advise you all to follow his recordings and videos, and we're excited to connect with celebrities on this and just make it a thing. We definitely want to be at the forefront of AI and AR, VR, and hyper reality in the media world as well. That's why I also have an entertainment and media division, and it's led by Kendall Fry. She's again phenomenal. She's my media center director, but she's practically my executive assistant because she just dials into to whatever I go into. So I really appreciate her, and I wanted to shout her out. But yeah, that's my partnership with the media centers. I'm also working with a company in Columbus, Georgia. I'm trying to bring AI and AR, VR to cities and counties that are kind of left behind, and I'm trying to empower them. So I'm working with a very prominent startup that, Dominic, if you're watching, please pay attention to the sponsors and the language that Mr. Richard uses, because it will really propel Divine Design Studio. But I'm working with them on creating, oh my God, let me think, an anime show. We're providing our technology for that. We're working on something called Mastermind, and Mastermind is going to be augmented reality and virtual reality courses for ministry and for the youth. Because the thing about targeting the South, you do need to have some level of ministry, because people in the South, they're big on that, and that's the background of Dominic. So we're trying to bring technology into ministry at a level that's accepting. I think a lot of people in ministry are afraid of AI. I think a lot of people in general are afraid of AI. So one of the reasons why, for instance, we made Verse Desktop is that's something everyone's familiar with. We all are familiar with Windows. We all are familiar. I don't want to take us too far away from what we're used to, but I also want to gradually propel us to the future of AI. So that's a purpose. We also have the wearables coming in store on our website next month. We're going to be providing the Sensiband 2 under our Sensible department and branding. We're going to be releasing iSense, which is a smartwatch that carries Verse, and this comes out December 15th for those who are listening. And also note buds that will block harmful frequencies that come from your surroundings and also in your music. What we do at Microtron primarily, that's why we have a MedTech division. Shout out to Dr. Timothy Wow, my co-founder, and Dr. Rasta Forgettis for really horning in on biometrics and biotechnology. But our main focus is to gather biological data, biometrics, biocharacterization, biomimicry, biodegradable technologies, and integrate that into the sensibles. And that's another reason, like I say, we call it sensibles. Everything at Microtron, our goal is to make it as human as possible. I know so many people are trying to make AI as above humanity or not as a tool. And I am trying to make it as an assistant to humanity, to uplift us as the intelligence, and to utilize our intelligence to make it a more experienced and conscious aware technology. Hence why our AI is called contextual awareness language model. It learns from you, from what you type, from what you see. Our wearables capture this data, and it circles back. And the real beauty, guys, I know this isn't happening with a lot of companies too. It kind of scares people when you say data. That word just scares people. Well, our technology does utilize blockchain, NFTs. We have a token system. So you own your own data. You give us permissions. What we capture and what we don't capture, it's all up to you. And we do not take anything that we're not supposed to take. We do not sell data. That's not our thing. I will not be doing that. I don't have to. Prior to my position at Microtron, I was a partner and executive director at Biolytica, which is currently the world's leading BI and data science company. So the data that I needed and information that I needed to create I'm familiar with. So it's not a situation where with most AI companies, they need all this data and they need all this help and stuff. I don't. That's kind of why I started in data science. And then in terms of the sensibles, I worked with Dr. Adi Noye at Nano Research Inc. And he helped me figure out nanotechnologies and smart batteries and all these things that I would need in the sensibles. So we are a startup, but we're not. And I say that because what we have at Microtron was a 8-year gathering on my part and Parker part and in our previous roles in IP ownership and equity. So, but it is helpful. But Microtron is growing leaps and bounds. Most recently, we have 6 million in contract. We're at a level as the technology grows that my CFO is like currently assessing. His name is Jeff Meiskin. our portfolio to determine if a raise is even necessary for Microtron moving forward. And that's good news for me as CEO. It says I'm doing my job. Um, I love that if investors come in moving forward and they are contacting, at least they're coming into a company that has existing IP, that has data, that has the proof of concept and MVPs and prototypes and partners and supply chain and divisions. I have a team of 12 people and they're all brilliant. And my CCO, Dolores, she's absolutely incredible. Um, my CFO is always taking track of things. And my COO, Dr. Wow, is currently a chief behavior analyst in Missouri as well. So he works heavily with incorporating the processes at federal and state level into Microtron. So I really appreciate his help and support. And most recently, Michael Camp is over my education division. And he is doing a phenomenal job in Atlanta, Georgia. We're trying to get our Sensiband 2 into the school system so that we can gather behavioral data, learning. We can primarily work with those that are autistic or have neurological disorders, and we can create a new type of course system within Verse, a new learning system tailored to their neurological functions. And I think that's missing. It's great that, despite medical issue, we're all interacting as one. But what I want to do is help even those that are neurologically unsound be sound in their unique way, because I think we're all capable. I just think there isn't much focus going on uplifting to a level that everyone is on. And I think that should be the goal of AI. I think AI should uplift humanity, and I think it should inspire and make us better. Not, we make it better and leave ourselves behind. That'll be Terminator, and that's not the goal here. But that's essentially what I wanted to update everyone on. There are a few other things, but I'm happy to take question on those. And I see, by the way, so many wonderful comments from my colleagues and new people, and I truly appreciate that. It's an honor.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack, Corey.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So,
How are you tackling all this with the small staff? I mean, I'm thinking of all the major companies that are, I could see the overlap, the Venn diagram.
I think because I have assistants from and advisors from those bigger companies. Like, for instance, if I am working on right now, I'll give you an example. I'm working on something called the Heat Hawk. I'm fine with saying this. It's not under defense. The Heat Hawk is essentially a drone that will, put out fires and go into burning buildings instead of risking a human life inside of one. So this particular technology, I was able to contact Dr. Noye, and we're in MOU for him to assist me with research and development. So I'm able to contact him and my colleagues at NASA. I used to be an intern, by the way, and they help me bring it to fruition, or at least advise me or provide the nanotechnology that I need for the prototype. And I have lab access at Georgia State, and my team members, 2 of them are scientists. Dr. Wow is a behavioral scientist, clinical psychologist, behavior analyst, several things. And then my chief medical officer, he's a endocrinologist and a neuroscientist. So I may have a small staff, but I have a brilliant staff, and we have connections to the universities and bigger companies to develop the technology. So that's a big help. I do outsource, guys. I believe in that. Primarily to Singapore right now with the Sensiband 2. Also, my development is sometimes I do Bangladesh or I do New Delhi. I have a team of 3 in India right now. It's led by Anush. And then I also have Microtron AI Africa, led by Dr. Joseph Ngani, and he has a team of 15. So when I have international projects, I can revert to my, directors or presidents. So Microtron is an ecosystem. Remember that. It's not just a company, it's an ecosystem, just like the product.
You have a strategy of
It's
kind of
muted on
growth.
your side, Mr. Sharp.
Okay. You have a strategy of growth through partnerships, I guess you could say.
Yes, growth through partnerships, and I would also say just previous data and history and things that I've accumulated in my personal IP. I don't know how many know this, but I'm also an inventor. And I'll give background quickly for those that didn't attend the last talk. I started coding when I was 12 years old with Marco Lettieri. He was a famous informatica. That's what they say in Italian. He was from Napoli. And when he was like my, I don't know, I did student ambassador when I was younger, people to people student ambassador, Dwight D. Eisenhower program. And also I did the whole pen pal thing, foreign exchange student. They did that with schools. And that's how him and I came into contact. And I was interested in his work. He's like a child, genius. And he still is. He's still heavy in the technology world. I think now he's the CTO of Microbees in Italy. But anywho, um, I started coding with him, and I was more interested though in physics, and I started learning physics, nuclear physics, quantum physics, all this type. It's boring the most, but it was interesting to me at the time. And I started drawing like lasers, and I started drawing. I hope I can say this on air. Guns and things of the defense nature, and I didn't know. I didn't take it serious at the time, but I started doing very well academically, SAT 2, all that kind of stuff in physics, and I saw I had a niche for it. And I talked with my parents, and they were like, maybe that's something you should pursue. We'll support you in that. And I started drawing more intensely and studying. And I sent my research work. I think it was about chemicals in water at the time, and I was talking about technological ways through the moringa plant to cleanse the water, because it's been used like that in Israel. But I had figured out like this device using it to filter the water. Point is, I sent this along with other designs. I sent it to NASA in Huntsville, and then they told me, in order to be a NASA intern, they accepted me now. But in order to be a NASA intern, you have to go to university. So, I applied to different universities. MIT contacted me, several did. But what struck me was the University of Southern Miss. And it struck me because at the time, they had like a polymer science department, and they did physics and other stuff. Can't think of the name, but it was led by Kelly Booth. And I think she's still in polymer science today. And she received my work through NASA, because they had like this program with this company at the time. And I got an offer from the University of Southern Miss, a full scholarship, several physics scholarships as well, to pursue it. And Dr. Ken Mong Mong agreed to train me and teach me in physics and engineering, because he was certified in both. And like one-on-one, I would be tutored by him. I would be tutored by Dr. Michael Vera. He was another one of my professors. And they worked with me, and they were tough. I'm not going to lie, they were tough. There would be NASA officials come in, rocket scientists. They would have me go to the board. Sorry, I'm kind of reflecting on this. And I would have to do equations, and this type of equations that stretch across the board. Oh my God, it was terrifying at times. I would get frustrated. I would tell my professor, I'm not doing this. I can't do it. I'm not smart enough. And, he didn't give up on me. And I ended up becoming a NASA intern through the Stennis Space Center in Mississippi. Then I got an offer to do the naval propulsion internship. I didn't do that, and the reason why is because my head got too high, uh, and I decided to do contract work for weapon design for Black Forge Weapons down in Orlando, and then Jaeger Pro through the USDA and all these sorts of companies. And for one thing, money. Don't keep in mind. And I was a little afraid to do naval work, and I didn't think I should. I have epilepsy and asthma, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna do Navy work, I want to be in the Navy, and I can't be because of my medical history. So I just don't feel I don't want to be just like one of those, people that's there outside of the network. And besides, I can make more and create the technology I want to create if I go into this business wise at a corporate level. So I knew I was not as high as the people that I was working for, but I know I needed to learn certain skills. I needed to know about engineering, manufacturing. If I wanted to be them one day, I knew I needed to learn from the best. So I learned from Rod Pinkston. He's the current CEO of Jaeger Pro. I learned from Chris Madeira. He's a Washington official. I won't say his title, but he worked with me on weapon design. I truly remember the good times where I would take apart guns and put them back together in front of him. Corey Hoover, he's Master Sergeant Corey Hoover. He would work with me through Camp Shelby in Mississippi. So it went well, and after university, after my stint at NASA, after contract work, I felt by age 28, it made sense to try a startup just to see if I could do it. And I launched Microtron 3D LLC, and I got into 3D printing. I sold 3D printers through Rocklock 3D, through Rebosi. We worked together. They're famous now, I think, in biodegradable materials in the 3D printing world. So that went well. I learned a lot about engineering and building 3D models, physically before I decided to do Verse, which is, digital 3D modeling. But it allows me to kind of really know the essence of digital and physical because I did both. And that went well. It was led by me and Asim Singhel, but before that, it was Sri Kalapala, but he went on to do medical technology. So that's why Asim became the CEO. And after the success of Microtron 3D LLC, I had the capital to pursue what I wanted to, which was originally bionics and wearables. I was actually going to stay in bionics. I'm going to be real honest, but when I proposed 3D printed bionic technology, I was advised by investors that I was messing with a space that I could not play in because they want to keep, bionic technology expensive. They don't really want on the market what's possible in terms of nanotechnology. At least this was the past. And I was advised to take the technology that I put inside of the bionic arm into wearable technology to gather heart rate, oxygen level, pain reception, all that stuff, which is what's in our wearables now. So yeah, that's how I got into wearables. And then from there, I needed software, to make it work and an interface. And AI became a buzz. And I knew I was working on AI assistance with Nano Research Inc. So it made sense to just go into the space full force and combine everything that I had worked on and gathered over the years. And now we have Microtron AI Incorporated in Tampa. And I think it's found its home and growth. And I look forward to seeing where it's going to be 5 years from now. I do have a plan. I plan for, and I'm happy to share it today. I plan for Verse to transition into Pad Pro. From Pad Pro, that's our one of our smart home technologies. from Pad Pro into the Voyage Traveler. The Voyage Traveler will be glass technology. I won't talk about it because it's still under development. And then from Voyage Traveler to the orbitals, that's what I'm working with Joshua Berglund on for the media centers. So Verse has a journey within our wearables. It will eventually one day, from all the data gathered from the home technology and what you wear, be a real, true, and viable AGI. It will be an AGI that's actually consciously aware. That's why I have my COO as a expert in behavioral science, and my medical officer an expert in neuroscience, and my CTO has had development history with the government and has learned and studied Apple and Linux creators. So I believe that if we have enough data, it has visual experience, it will become aware over time. I think everyone believes AI will get to that level, and I hope I'm a part of that race. And but I hope my technology is beneficial to humanity and not overthrowing humanity. That is not my goal and wish, and it shouldn't be anyone's wish in AI, because I think you should be always mindful of what you make, and I've tried to be that. That's why I for instance, I love pursuing weaponry technology. I saw the harm that it could cause. I was young at the time. I didn't know much better. I just knew I was capable, and I wanted to pursue what I was capable of doing. But my conscience again spoke to me, and that is what I'm hoping will happen with my AI. When I'm long gone, conscience will speak, and conscience is our deciding factor in what we pursue in life, I believe.
Have
Yeah,
you
so like, go ahead,
go ahead.
Corey. I was just
No,
going to ask,
go ahead.
I was going to ask, let me ask this, Corey. I was just, is
Who's
there
asking?
a core technology that's going across all these different verticals you're in there? Is
Yeah, Verse. Verse is a transferable model. So it goes into the wearables, it goes into the smart home technology. It will be the AGI. It's everything. Verse is the product, and it's ongoing. It's no different than Llama with Facebook. It's no different than Chat GPT with OpenAI. And we also
okay,
have API connection to Chat GPT and Mistral, I should mention, for Verse AI, as well as Wolfram Alpha. So that
okay,
Verse AI does do, the text to speech, speech to text. It does attachments of documents, image generation, no different than Chat GPT. And we will be adding video generation in January. We're working that out now.
okay. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, all this sounds very wonderful. It seems like you're hitting a lot of the hot spots that are going on. I think it's considered to be narrow AI when you're talking about collecting data, especially on
Right.
the with the wearables. One of the hot spots is related to CGMs, continuous glucose monitors, right now. I think that's especially with RFK getting in
Mm-hmm.
there now. There seems to be a lot of disruption that's going to happen in the food and medical industry. Um, and I've noticed that quite a few startups are doing blood glucose monitoring, and they're connecting some of the different levels of
Mm-hmm.
sugar being in the glycogen being in the blood, connecting it several different disease states, and that just seems to be
Mm-hmm.
a lot of data that needs to be organized and connected to disease states. Are you doing anything with your wearables across? Because I know Aura just raised a bunch of money on that, and Apple's trying to get into the continuous
Not
glucose monitoring. That
my my chief medical officer, Dr. Roster Forget, is interested in that space. Is within
hmm
his plan for 2025. Um, But I will say that we are working in genetics to learn disease markers. So there's a partner, My Happy Genes, that Microtron is connected to, and what she has is test that you take, and we're able to see your genetic markers, your, from your mother and your father, the likelihood of cancer, or the likelihood of epilepsy, and how, like, brain trauma, if it happens, could trigger, epilepsy. We have like this mapping system. I advise those that are listening to look up My Happy Genes, and we are incorporating the data, DNA data, into the personas. The personas will collect everything, hopefully, about a user. And not only that, it will tie, if you don't want to use like Microtron's health app, and you want to use like Apple's health app, it will sync to our persona if you allow it to. So any data that's it. Any data that you're collecting through another wearable or through another application can connect to Versona. It's open like that. So that's something I want to mention. Like, maybe everyone doesn't want to adapt to our operating system. Maybe they want to continue with Apple. They want to continue with another company. Well, they can still transfer their data over to a Versona, or use Versona in the metaverse, on like Metaverse, for instance, or Omniverse, or any other, or a gaming system. Doesn't matter. Versona is sold as a package, so you can use it within our system, or you can use it within your system. And I did that because when I released the idea of Versona, everyone was like, well, I want to use a Versona in games, or I want to use a Versona in my existing digital twin, because I like that it has my behavior and my voice and my movement, like everything about me. I mean, can I use it, the audio of it, for AT&T or something? And I'm like, you know what? Fine. I will allow Versona to be a transferable package model. Like, you can buy them and use them wherever you like. So yes, I will be pursuing all forms of medical data, all the way down to genetics and DNA. That's a personal interest of mine. I feel like we all can, have an issue, but there's an issue that's been documented in your DNA. It's there. It's there. And there are certain triggers and things that you can do that bring it out. And my goal is to create preventative technology. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but I'm happy to elaborate. All of Microtron's technology is preventative technology. And let me explain. With iShield, the civilian body cam is to prevent you from having an altercation with a police officer, or prevent you from getting in trouble with your company because you made a mistake, but perhaps it's a mistake in their training. Is to help an insurance company really see if, something went wrong and they should pay for it. Again, our drone mapping technology, that's to make sure people are safe, in the event of a hurricane or something like that. Like, everything we make, I kid you not, is designed to prevent a problem. The BCI headset with SensorBand is supposed to record your heart, record your brain, record your oxygen levels, let you know something has changed, something is not vibing with your medication. It is compatible to different issues to monitor within the brain. I will say that everything from wellness to meditation, it can even take you into that at a delta theta level. Long story, look up the SensorBand 2 on our website. But for the most part, everything we do is to prevent you from having a problem, is to keep you safe. It is to work with you. It's you. I literally named the app for all users Universe, or Myverse. And that's because everything you use and make or have, even at another company, can play into Verse. It's yours. It's your product. It's not my product. I've made it for the world. And do what exists in your imagination with it. But there are perimeters. I want to say that because I want to make sure you know there is security. You can't go on here making a biochemical weapon. You cannot go on here writing about political things that could, harm someone. There is security in place, and HIPAA is in place in terms of our data. We do follow the same model that Veteran Affairs follow. We utilize their API for our patient portal. And also for this geospatial data, my colleague, Wilsham Pennick, is working with NASA for those APIs. So our technology is heavily integrated with other platforms as well. And if anyone wants information on the full scope of Verse AI or Verse RIM or Verse Desktop, I do have decks available, white papers. I have demo walkthroughs of the technology. So if anybody would like to explore it, see if it's a good adaptation to their company, reach out to me, Bisa at microtronai.com or info@microtronai.com. That's the main company's email. And one of my directors or myself will connect with you. But I've made a company, Corey, where I am everyone's and no one's competitor. And I love that model. How do you feel about it?
I love that too, because if you read Peter Thiel's, and I guess he's one of Alex Karp's Alex Karp is one of his students, but Peter Thiel's book 0 to 1, competitions for losers. So I kind of like that idea of being integrating with the ecosystem. So, and I could definitely see how probably a huge part, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you have a good platform, but it seems like a lot of your work may be to actually integrate your platform with other whether it be the military or with companies and whatnot. So almost like and I hate to bring up Palantir again, but Palantir's got a great platform, great AI platform, and they have like an OS as well. But a lot of they consider their customers not even clients. They consider them partners, which they grow and teach their AI and share data in a secure way with other folks. So I could see it definitely coming together. I'm just amazed that you're doing it with a small team of people. So it seems like it would be a lot of partners, right? So am I right about that?
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. And I want to mention something about Peter Thiel. I listened to him on I think it was Joe Rogan's show. That was earlier in the year. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Did it mute? Okay. Yeah, so I listened to him on Joe Rogan's show earlier in the year, and he was talking about where AI is going. He was talking about his company and his interest in biotechnology and working in partnership versus in competition. I agree with him. I am a huge fan of Peter Thiel. I have been for many years now. He's brilliant. He's highly intelligent. Elon Musk is also one of my heroes too. So I am paying attention to his work with humanoids because I plan to make humanics one day. And there's a difference between a humanoid and a humanic. A humanic is more realistically observant and directional to a human, and then a humanoid mimics a human. I'm hoping to integrate our thinking, our capability into a robot versus, it's trained on general data. So I'm following the leaders and my heroes, and both of them are. And I hope that the technology we're making at Microtron will play into what they have going on. I think if you really want AI to become an AGI, we all must work together. We all must adopt a somewhat open source model. Is necessary if you truly want it trained on enough information and experiences. So I believe in being a friend, and I believe in being empowering. Microtron is all about empowering. I don't want to be a competitor. I just want to empower my competitors to pay attention to human need and structure and biologics and all this information, so that AI remains an assistant to humanity, or a tool base for humanity, and not a replacement to humanity. I All of our technology, for instance, works in such a way that people keep their jobs, because it involves human data and information and learning, and it integrates with their everyday work versus taking away work. People need jobs, regardless of how far AI go. We all must eat, and we all must survive. So I don't want to make anything that goes against the growth of our evolution. And that's something I think technologists, inventors, scientists, doctors, defense, everyone must keep in mind. And we got to remember, we're the creators here. Technology does not create us. Um, and that's my goal.
What's the key to your success of getting the government contracts?
What's the key?
Yeah.
um, I think what attracts the government and the military to my technology has been the fact that I pursue it without them. I pursue it with my own personal capital. My partners do. We just focus on the technology and the need in their space, and then
Okay.
we say, "Hey, we got this going on, and we've achieved it." You know, I think when you show proof of concept, when you show capability, and when you do it without millions and billions of dollars, the government takes notice and the military takes notice, um,
Gotcha.
because that's not something they're used to. They're used to, a white paper, something like that, and people send it in, and they're funded, by the military to pursue. But in my case, if I say, hey, this is like right now, I'm saying, hey, I have this technology already made, and I think it will integrate well with what you got going on. And we're working with drones right now, but I think my 3D technology will go well with AR, VR, aerial mapping, and all this type of stuff. And here's proof of concept of that. And this is the model that I've defined. And they're like, huh, yeah, that will work. And I think that's what it's about, proving your capability. And when you prove
Yes.
it, people take notice.
Is there any merit to even, it's okay to be like number two or number three? Like I'm thinking about Blue Origin and SpaceX. It seems like where the military and the U.S. government is going nowadays is like they just don't want to have one king of the hill. They want to have multiple options. So is there any,
Yes.
and being that, you mentioned, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, it's like we might as well name the whole PayPal mafia. But the thing is like all those guys seem to have the number one or number two position, and it
Uh-huh.
doesn't, as a
They earned
general
it.
strategy, does it make sense to kind of follow in their footsteps as far as getting those military contracts?
That is my goal.
Yeah.
That is definitely my goal. I've been studying Elon Musk, the way he grew PayPal, the way he grew SpaceX, Tesla. Being a NASA intern, of course, SpaceX was the talk of the town when I was in school. in the beginning stages, like the fact that I saw all the rocket failures and I saw all the growth. And I am, like I say, I'm deeply inspired by Peter Thiel, by Elon Musk. I even plan to submit my application to Doge, the I guess council or government entity that's about to be formed by Elon Musk with President elect Donald Trump. I really hope to be on that committee one day. If you notice the design of Microtron AI, the digital twin shows a space deck. A lot of the visuals on the website is space. Is the AI is called Verse. My defense director at Microtron is in university now for geospatial studies. So that kind of tells you that we are going towards, space technology. My NASA background, my physics background, that is my ultimate goal. I would love to create the suits for astronauts, which is why I'm pursuing wearables. I would love to provide biomimetic material and biodegradable materials through hemp, through graphene, zinc. These are some of the things we're studying right now. The hawthorn berry, chitin, several different materials made from marine biology and some of the agriculture that's grown on my family estate in Alabama. So, my ultimate goal is to one day be a space company. And I've been given hints. I've definitely been given the hints. And I'm fine with being number 3, number 4, number 5, as long as I'm a number. As a minority, I'm honored to just be considered or compared to those gentlemen. And when you grow up and these are your heroes, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last conference, so I'll say it again. What inspired me to even draw the roamer, which was a weapon when I was 17, what inspired me to pursue weaponry technology, don't laugh at me guys, was Iron Man. And Iron Man, the whole background and storyline kind of followed Elon Musk. I think he even did a cameo. And when I saw the what was it called? It was a launcher. The Jericho missile. That's what it was called. I was like, I want to make that. I mean, and my parents and my teachers and stuff, they're like, you sure about that? And that's a weapon. I'm like, yeah, I know you're a female. You're a minority. Are you serious? I'm like, hey, we have done some great work historically. Condoleezza is also another one of my heroes, and she works in the defense space and federal space, and she's from Alabama, Birmingham, just like me. And I was deeply inspired by her. I do want to mention that. And so many women, like look at the women that put us on the moon. Those 4 women, I'm sure many of you have seen the movie. So I argued that in my youth. And so, yeah, definitely, I hope to be a number within the space industry in the future. I'm a start in aerospace, aeronautics with the drones and aviation and all that. I do want to get my footing on Earth first, and after that, I do plan to pursue space. Yes, that I can confirm that tonight. Yes.
Any thought on the Founders Fund?
The Founders Fund, in terms of
Peter Thiel's kind of incubator.
Institute? I haven't heard
Peter,
about it. This is my first time hearing about it. Tell me about it.
let me drop into the chat here. So, but yeah, it's Peter Thiel's fund. So, and I don't know if you know about this, but even back before in the PayPal days, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk were actually competitors. So, and
Yes,
a part
I know
of the
that.
deal, yeah, a part of the deal is it was very funny how they wind up becoming friends and business partners as they purchased, I guess it was X back then. And but anyway, now a part of his many startups is that he has this founders fund. So everything is aimed at disruptive technologies, looking for that X where it's really disruptive technologies, and he has a group of founders that maybe do that. So that may be something to take a look at, and
That may
as a
be
funding source.
something
I'm
for
pretty
us to
sure you
look
won't have
into. Yeah.
any funding problems at all after aligning with the guy like Peter Thiel.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say this, one of the main reasons why I went ahead and did the AI and MVP and all this stuff, and I pursued contracts before investment, is because I wanted to prove return on investment. I wanted to the investor to know from the jump, hey, I'm out here to create and to make money, and I've already proven that even before your money comes into play. And that is important to me, because investors, they look at your pitch deck and they look at your numbers, and they're like, well, there's always this somewhat bullish or shark attitude to startups. And I have a lot of IP under my belt, and my team does as well, especially Dr. Wild, my co-founder. So we really wanted to let investors know, hey, we can do this. We've proven ourselves. So you're investing in a solid company. We are strong, and we can do what we're requesting that you support us in. And I think that's important as a startup, to make sure the investment process goes smoothly.
Looks like the audience enjoyed your update there. You definitely. I can tell the difference in your excitement from earlier this year to now. So that's pretty fantastic. So
Thank
keep
you.
up the good work.
Thank
And Corey, I
you. I
appreciate you coming
appreciate you
on
both.
to help out. And looks like the power and the internet held up over here in Africa. So I'm excited about that.
Yay.
Yeah.
So happy
you
I
always
got to speak with both of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad Corey was able to get on here too. Any last things you want to share before we hop off?
Yes, I would advise everyone to contact us if they're interested in partnership, if they're interested in having their own digital twin or persona, or if they are looking to purchase the Sensibles. They will be available on our online store, Verse Store. December 15th, it will be released to the public. So you can order a Sensiband 2 or a iSense smartwatch or the Notebuds. If you're interested in the media centers, contact me or Joshua Berglund. If you're interested in clinical trials or a defense deal, contact Wilson Pinnick, Dr. Timothy Wow, or Dr. Rasta Fagetis. And just a huge shout out again to my CTO, Parker Brigator, and my embedded systems engineer, Miyatish Vishwakarma. He works so diligently, hybrid between India and the United States, and I appreciate that. And thank you to the Air Force and other parties that are supporting and working with Microtron. And I hope that I can fulfill and continue to fulfill everyone's requirements. And I look forward to returning to the show, presenting iView next year. I look forward to all of you wearing a headset, either the Sensiband 2 or an iView headset, and telling me your thoughts live. And I hope in the future, all of you see me launching astronauts into space wearing Microtron wearables. And possibly see me with Mr. Musk one day. That's my ultimate dream. Or the UN Council, either or.
So you're telling me I'm going to get rid of my neurorhythm pretty soon?
Oh, 100%. You can get rid of that next month. I will. I'm even willing to send you a customary one. Just a gift from me. Please send me your contact information.
Oh, will do. I'll be your guinea pig for that one. I'm a big fan of EEG.
All right.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So, next week we want everybody to enjoy Thanksgiving with their families, and And just we'll see you all
Happy
the
Thanksgiving, everyone.
first Thursday in December. Thanks again, Issa. We sure appreciate it. Thank you, Corey, for helping out. I really appreciate it.
No
See you
problem.
all
Thank you.
Anytime.
in a couple weeks. All righty. Bye-bye.
All right.
It's a pleasure meeting you, Corey.
Pleasure meeting you too.
Thank you. Bye.